While Saturday's game between LSU and Alabama may determine the SEC West, the game in Athens between Missouri and Georgia may determine the SEC East. The surprising 7-1 Tigers will travel between the hedges to take on the Georgia Bulldogs, the reigning national champions, two-time reigning national champions, a team that's riding a 25-game winning streak. The million-dollar question now is, can the Tigers come on the road and do the unthinkable and pull off the upset? That's the question we're going to answer today. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. We're so glad you could join us today. As always, please continue to like, to comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, including those expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Guys, if you want guaranteed winnings and the best spread picks in the country, this is the place for you because we are on a 55-26 run against the spread. 55-26 run against the spread. That is 69.7%. We want you to go win big with us today. Go sign up today. Join our team. One of the lowest prices in the country for the best picks in the country. It's a full year-long subscription, full 365 days. You do not want to miss out on these big-time winnings because I can guarantee you no one else is going to provide you results and customer service and prices like we do. So let's take a look at this game. Georgia has won 9 straight games against Missouri. They have dominated this series since the Tigers joined the SEC. But last year, the Tigers nearly pulled off a massive upset, only losing 26-22 in Columbia. It was a game that Missouri was really in control of for the majority of the game until the final 5 minutes when they relinquished the lead. So the Tigers nearly did the unthinkable last year. The question is, can they come on the road now and do it this year? When we take a look at the offenses, we'll start with Missouri. That was the biggest question mark for the Tigers entering 2023, right? We knew the defense would be pretty solid, but was the offense going to deliver? That was going to be what either propelled them to great heights or held them back again under Eli Drinkwitz. Well, they've answered the call. Kirby Moore, new offensive coordinator, he's answered the call. Brady Cook has answered the call after throwing for over 2,200 yards, 15 touchdowns, just 3 interceptions, leading a team that's averaging over 440 yards per game. Missouri finally found their identity. They found their offense, something they kind of struggled to really find in the early years of Eli Drinkwitz's era. They found it now. Brady Cook's been phenomenal. Luther Burden, nearly 1,000 reception yards, 6 touchdowns. He's been phenomenal. Cody Schrader has been phenomenal. Over 800 yards on the ground with 9 touchdowns. This is a Missouri team, guys, that's averaging 33.9 points per game and has 6 straight games with at least 30 points scored. I mean, it's really, really impressive. And I'll tell you this, I actually think right now you could make the argument that Missouri owns the offensive advantage entering this game against Georgia. And here's why. You look at Georgia's offense. They're not bad by any means. They're still averaging over 500 yards per game. They still dropped 43 points and over 480 yards against Florida last week. I get it. But they don't have Brock Bowers. They've played fine without him. But when you lose one of the best players in the entire country, it hurts you. And it definitely hurts you when you're playing solid opponents like Missouri. You got to keep in mind, Georgia hasn't played anybody all year long. You can make the argument that last week against Florida was their toughest test of the season. Now Missouri will be their toughest test of the season. And Georgia's about to enter a key stretch where they're going to play Missouri, Ole Miss, and Tennessee in 3 consecutive weeks. We're really about to see what this Georgia team is truly made of, not just offensively, but defensively as well. The offense is solid. Carson Beck over 2,400 yards, 14 touchdowns, averaging over 330 passing yards per game. He does not look like a guy that's in his first year as a collegiate starter. Doesn't look like that. They're averaging over 172 rushing yards per game. Dejan Edwards over 550 yards and 8 touchdowns on the year. He's playing good ball. But you look at Georgia right now. They're going to have to find a way to run the ball here. I think Missouri's defense is good enough to shut down one aspect of Georgia. I think they're good enough to slow down the passing attack. I think they're good enough to create a little bit of pressure on Carson Beck. And if you are Georgia, you don't want, in a top 15, top 20 matchup like this, you don't want all of the weight on offense to come down to your quarterback. You need some sort of balance. You need some help. In a massive game against a truly ranked opponent, you need someone to step up big outside of Carson Beck. And that's why Dejan Edwards is going to have to step up big. That's why Kendall Milton's going to have to step up big. The rushing attack as a whole for Georgia is going to have to strongly complement Georgia's passing attack. And again, what will be one of the toughest tests they faced all year and arguably the toughest defense they have faced to date in 2023. And we say that because Missouri's defense is good. It's very good. They're giving up just 338 yards per game, only 226 through the air, only 112 on the ground. They have 24 sacks on the year. They have forced 8 turnovers. They know how to create a little bit of pressure on the quarterback. And look, they have faced solid offenses this year. Let's be honest here. Missouri has not faced a cupcake schedule like Georgia has. The Tigers have faced LSU. They've played Kansas State. They've played Memphis, who has a good offense. They've gone 2-1 in those games against those offenses. The only loss, of course, coming by 10 to LSU. Should be noted, though, that while they face good offenses, while facing an electric offense in Georgia, it's going to be nothing new for the Tigers. While they are 2-1 in those games, they've allowed at least 399 yards in each of those. So they have been a little bit torched, if you want to say, defensively in those games, despite winning 2 of those 3. What they have to do, Missouri, what we have to do defensively, and we said that, is they've got to make Georgia one-dimensional. They've got to make them one-dimensional, and you cannot allow Carson Beck to stand there in the pocket and have all the time in the world and pick you apart. You cannot allow yourself, if you're Missouri, you cannot allow yourself to be Kentucky. And what we mean by that is to be this team that strolls up into Athens, feeling all high and mighty, and then gets absolutely destroyed. You know, Kentucky did that. They torched Florida. Everybody was praising them, and then got annihilated by Georgia in Athens. If you're Missouri, you cannot allow that. You've talked the talk. You've walked the walk through 8 games this year. Do it again in Athens. Do not get obliterated. You've got to go out there and play solid defense, but it's going to be very hard to do in creating pressure and creating some sort of push against a Georgia offensive line that's only allowed 6 sacks so far this year. Strong up front. Georgia, I think, does own the battle in the trenches. They do own the line of scrimmage edge. They've got to find a way, Missouri does, to exploit that. And if they're not going to win up front, they've got to find a way to create turnovers and mistakes in the back 7. You take a look at Georgia's defense. Come on, guys. It's always a strength, right? I mean, if we're being honest here. I mean, this is a team that, with Kirby Smart as the best defensive mind in the game, is always really, really, really good. Only allowing 272 yards per game on the year, 178 through the air, only 93 on the ground. So I think you can pretty much chalk Cody Schrader up to be a non-factor for Missouri offensively. You just don't. It's not just a Missouri thing, right? Teams do not play Georgia and succeed on the ground. You just don't. If you want to beat this Georgia team, in recent years, if you've wanted to beat Georgia, you're going to have a competent quarterback. You're going to have playmakers on the outside. You're going to have to throw, and you're going to have to make mistakes, force them into mistakes defensively. You're not going to sit there and run against Georgia and win that game against the Bulldogs. It's not going to happen, which is why, again, Brady Cook is going to have to find a way to go out there and deliver for the Tigers in this game. That's why Luther Burden is going to have himself a big game if Missouri wants a legitimate chance to win. Georgia defensively, their key is to get after Brady Cook, right? We just met it. The ground game, I'm not concerned about that. I'm not concerned about Georgia's rushing defense. I think they're going to shut down Missouri's rushing attack. I genuinely believe that. They're going to then have to get after Brady Cook. If the running game's a non-factor, then go all out on the quarterback. Force him into some pressure. He's been in some high-stress, high-pressure situations before. He's been in shootouts before. He's faced solid defense before. But if you can go out there and attack him and slow him down, force him into a handful of mistakes, which he hasn't done much at all this year, then you're going to win this game and you're going to win it comfortably because Missouri's not going to find a way to be balanced like they have been for the majority of the year. So what's going to happen, guys? What's going to happen in Athens Saturday afternoon? We've got this game on CBS. Maybe could determine the SEC East. And then next, right after that, you've got LSU and Alabama in Tuscaloosa. That game possibly going to determine the SEC West. Yes, we know Ole Miss is still in the mix. Yes, we know Georgia still has to play Tennessee. We haven't forgotten about you volunteer fans. But these are huge matchups that will determine who ultimately plays in the SEC Championship here in about a month. But on Saturday afternoon, I look at this. Missouri, give them all the credit in the world. It's been one heck of a year. Give them credit last year for what they did, nearly taking down Georgia. I know they feel confident they can do it. They felt like they slipped away last year. They feel confident they can beat Georgia. And I believe they can beat Georgia. I believe they have the pieces there to do it. But I do not think they will. I do not think the Tigers will win on Saturday in Athens. Having home field advantage is huge for the Bulldogs. Kirby Smart's going to have his team ready to go. Look, they've heard all year long. They've played nobody. They've played cupcake teams. Now they've got a ranked opponent on the docket. What are we going to see from Georgia here? And I think you're going to see a pretty dang impressive victory. I think Georgia wins this game. They make a point to the playoff committee. They make a point to the country to continue to show, hey, we're the 2-time reigning national champions, back-to-back. We're going for a three-peat. Do not disrespect us here. Georgia wins this game by at least 2 touchdowns. I believe they win it by 2 touchdowns at the least. Make a statement to the country. Missouri's SEC East title hopes go up in flames, but still have a chance to salvage one heck of a year under Eli Drinkwitz. So there you go, guys. Georgia taking down Missouri on Saturday afternoon. Leave your thoughts and comments down below. Let's get ready for another massive college football Saturday. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below, including those expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Again, a 55-26 run against the spread. Nowhere else is like that. Go sign up for those picks again today. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you next time right here on The Gridiron Expert.